Transportation Assistance Program for for counties, according to state statutes, Wisconsin statutes 85.21. The meeting is now open, and if there are any public comments, and we have Chris Mabey here with us, the Senior Services Manager, and she is here to answer any questions, should there be any.
No correspondence were received in your office, I'm assuming?
No correspondence. I see nothing online. Those are all Price County.
Let's check and see if it's working. It turned off, so I just turned my phone off. Not on here.
Okay, seeing and hearing none, I'm going to close this public hearing. And now I will call the meeting to order for the Price County Health and Human Services Board. Jean, would you please take the roll?
Joe Baratka,
Here.
Paula Hodak,
Here.
Bob Kopish,
Here.
Patty Steven. Here. Dennis Warko, we're not sure. Peter Daly is excused. Sally Hummel, Susie Acker, Gerald Swenson.
Here.
All right, welcome everyone. At this time, is there any public comment from the audience, from the gallery? Seeing nothing online either, so seeing and hearing none, we'll move on to any communications from the board. Seeing and hearing none, let's move on. New employee introduction. That will be Sarah.
I'd like to introduce Rhonda Murray Makowski, and she is our new Adult Protective Service investigator. Like to welcome her. She's been here for what, about a month, huh? So has had some history of working in this department or in this type of work. So we're excited to have her. I'd also like to introduce Dawn Griesel. Dawn Griesel is our new Aging and Disability ADRC of the North manager. She had worked with Price County, and we were kind of talking, I think, from like 1991 to 1998, maybe. And now she is working here. So she's had some history with working, and she worked in long-term support was her. Yeah. So we're glad to have her. Also, I'd like to congratulate Tiffany. Tiffany was appointed yesterday from the county board. So I'd like to welcome her. And she'll be starting January 3rd. Is it 4th?
Michelle retires on January
3rd. So yeah. So excited to have Tiffany join us.
Well, welcome to all of you. We're really glad to have you on board. And we'll see you at these meetings all the time, I would assume. All right, maybe, do you all know everyone that's here? Maybe we should just go around and introduce each other, everyone from the board, just for the heck of it. Let's start over there with
Gerald Swenson from Brentwood, Wisconsin.
Gerald. Put your microphone up if you would, please. Thank you. And turn it on. There you go. Thank you. I know, but
How's that?
that's great.
Okay. Gerald Swenson from Brentwood, Wisconsin.
And what is your role on the board?
Citizen, yeah.
Yep. Okay. I know that. I just thought
Oh.
maybe you could say I'm a citizen. All right.
Hi, I'm Bob Kopish. I'm a county board member from District 10, up Town of Lake, Town of Eisenstein.
I'm Patty I almost say my last.
I don't know, I heard different yesterday.
I know.
What is your last name?
I do that a lot. I'm Patty Steven, District 11, right here in Phillips, County Board member.
I'm Sally Hummel, a community member.
Sally, you need that microphone.
From Phillips. Pardon? I could put it on. It's on.
But you have to talk in it.
It's like going to school.
I know.
It's like going to school. Okay. Sally Hummel, community member for quite a few years. I would say maybe 10.
Nice. Susie Acker, I am the RN board member.
Joe Baratka, County Supervisor, District 3, Town of Flambeau, small sliver of Park Falls, and a small sliver of Town of Lake.
They know you.
Yeah, hope so.
Yeah. They know Sarah. And I'm Paula Hodak, Chair, and I'm County Board Supervisor and Chair of this committee. So welcome aboard. All right, so we'll go to the vouchers. The vouchers, did they all go through? Well, we're still waiting possibly for Mr. Wartko. We have not heard from him, so can we just hold a little bit yet, Chrisanne? Okay, we'll give him. We do, because Paula forgot him, didn't she? Oh. Well, then let's make a motion. Someone want to make a motion for last month's vouchers?
You can design them and everything, we just never.
We did. We approve.
Mike, please, Mr. Kopish.
You're
Mike's
talking
not
into
on.
it, but it's not.
Got to have the light on.
Yeah.
I will make a motion to approve the vouchers from our October 9th meeting.
I would second that motion.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded, and yes, they were signed already at the meeting last time. I forgot to bring them back to the meeting. I know. Write me up. Is there any discussion? Go ahead.
And you have a quorum to approve the other ones, so you can just go ahead and do it without Dennis's.
Okay,
signature.
we could do that without the signature. All right, and who wants to make a motion for this month's?
Well, don't we have to
Vouchers.
have Chrisanne get up at the podium and talk to us a little bit?
Well, we need to
In
make
case
a
we have,
motion,
in case we have questions, or
but we'll make a motion.
you want to
and-
do the motion first? Well, I
Sure.
will make the motion to approve the vouchers pending our answers to our questions.
There you go.
I would second.
All
I
right.
would second
I
that
found
motion.
2 of them.
All right, come on up, Chrisanne. Normally you need to do that to put it to the floor, so. Okay, she's waiting, Mr. Kopish.
Just a couple.
Okay,
Heartland Business Systems, and what do we use them for?
computer equipment, software, sorry. Okay,
That was
Com-
nice.
thanks. Yeah, so computer equipment, notebooks, laptops, software.
Okay, there's 2 invoices here that look like for exactly the same amounts. Is that pretty typical?
We got it
Because it's
from,
repetitive?
we were using our energy assistance grant, our WEAP grant, so it was split between 2 accounts, split evenly
Oh,
between 2
okay,
accounts.
okay. And then there are 2 other things here. Forward Home for Boys. What is that?
That's a group home, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, group home for
And
you.
where is that?
Oh, good question. I don't remember where they're located.
I was thinking it's a new place.
It's a new place,
Yeah.
okay.
I'll tell you in a minute.
It's just for boys,
Yeah. What's a,
just for boys.
yeah, we can never find girls.
I try hard to stump her, and I
I think you
and
won
may have got her on this one.
on the prize on
My
this one.
computer speeds up, I'll be able to tell you.
I can look that up if you want to go on to the next question.
You can get back to me on it.
Okay.
That's fine. We don't need to spend any time on it. The other one was the Lutheran Social Services. And what do they do for
Richland
us?
Center. Bob,
Huh?
Richland Center is the
Oh,
answer to your-
Richland Center.
to your first
Oh,
question.
okay, thank you.
And
And the
then
Lutheran Social
That's
Service,
also a
that's also
group home.
for boys?
Yep, a residential care.
So these
yeah.
are boys that are
Boys or girls that are,
at an advanced stage of
Mhm.
need.
right,
Yeah.
delinquent or
Okay, that's it.
otherwise. Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Thanks, Jean.
Oh, that actually came from Carrie because she's listening. There's people are out there.
Yeah, there, good questions there. So we have a motion from Mr. Kopish and a second from Mr. Baratka for both the vouchers, both sets of vouchers. So any other discussion? No other questions for Chrisanne? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor? Those opposed? Okay, motion's carried. Boy, that's,
You've got enough
I
from what
think
you
you-
need. I would say you're fine.
I signed it first.
We just got to make sure that there's at least 3 signatures.
Did you want something by Dennis's name? Can Chrisanne just put on there?
No, I just usually just exit if the person's not there.
Okay, all right. All right, thank you for all of that. Okay, and the minutes for the October 9th, 2024, what is your pleasure for that? Everyone's had a chance to read them?
I make a motion to accept Gerald Swenson.
Okay, Mr. Warwick, I'm sorry, he's on my brain. Mr. Swenson makes the motion to approve. And second by Susie Ocker. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Motion's carried on that. Public Health Unit, Tiffany Polachek.
Hi there. So starting off with the direct naloxone, should actually say naloxone direct. That's the name of the grant that we had applied for. So there was an opportunity to apply for a grant to receive Narcan. With us having the AODA mental health concerns on our Chip and Chaw, we were able to kind of look at alternatives to help support the coalition and other agencies within Price County. So when we applied for the grant, with the thought of the strategies to be able to have these the Narcan be placed in the vending machines that will be available here. Also, currently there is one first responder unit up in Fifield that uses Narcan as a leave behind program for those for the potential for overdose or that have experienced overdose. So with us applying for the grant, we were looking to potentially offer more of that to other agencies, emergency agencies within our county. And also our jail system, if for our law enforcement, for them to be needing Narcan to have available. So we applied for the grant and we did receive it. Our agency was approved to receive 10 cases of Narcan under this grant. Each case holds 12 kits or 24 doses of Narcan. So again, our chosen areas were looking at those Embrace, the vending machine outside of Embrace for our law enforcement and for our jail, potentially even for those that may have been incarcerated as they are exiting and going back out into the community, maybe working with the jail system to be able to have that available for them, because as we know, as they're released back out into the community, that is typically can be the highest rate of overdose right there. So just looking at availability of that and utilizing that grant funding for that opportunity. Any questions on that? Yes, Patricia.
Does that vending machine have like the new needles? The needles that people would go to use drugs? Those kinds of needles?
I don't specifically have the answer for that because Embrace is actually the owner of that vending machine, and they are ultimately the ones placing them in there. We were just, for this, it would just be an opportunity to offer them the Narcan to place in there, not necessarily saying we say that it has to be in there because we don't own the machine.
Okay. This was presented like a year ago with the Narcan and the something else and fresh needles, wasn't it? But we,
And
Did-
that was Embrace. Embrace is the one that has
Okay.
that. So
Yeah.
that was what was presented, is that
Okay.
Embrace is the one that is dealing with that.
okay, so we'll have to
Vending.
go look. All right, thank you.
The next thing we have on there was the Sharps disposal grant funding. That was another grant we were able to apply for to kind of help out with that Sharps disposal. As you may recall, there had been some change in the Sharps disposal in the last couple of months due to one of our local agencies closing. So we now have those Sharps disposal areas as in the Park Pharmacy, Lakeside Pharmacy, and within our own, at the normal building within public health. And I'm sure Michelle had talked about that in the past. What we did with the grant funding is one, we were able to use that grant funding, and that's kind of what you'll see here for some advertisement for that Sharps, because it is was a change that was within the community, so that people have an awareness. So there was some advertisement in, I believe, the paper, and with that, on top of that, we also, when we went to our community flu clinics, to the nutrition sites, we brought disposable boxes with us, and we offer that to the communities in the southern area that don't have like these permanent drop boxes. So we took it with us to Brantwood, Prentice, Kennan, and Ogama. And then the grant funding would then also help with the needles that we did, or the Sharps that we did collect from there, would help with the disposal of that. So that we could reach those communities that didn't have that direct permanent disposal. The next thing on ours was the maternal child health nutrition survey results. Going back to our CHAW and our CHIP, I know that the last meeting I attended, we have presented the CHAW, and one of our findings on there was chronic disease, with the focus of being on nutrition and physical activity. So our Health and Wellness Coalition is kind of our leader in that area. So what they were able to do is use the MCH grant to provide funding with this opportunity to collect more information and also provide education and resources to our community. And they did this by offering bento boxes, as you can see here, to a few events. They did the Trunk or Treat here in Phillips. There was another one in Lugerville, and there was one up in Park Falls. And they are working on looking at something in the southern half in the Prentice area yet, and that is to be determined. But what they did is, you can see here on this handout here, they collected additional information that they could use on nutrition. So that was their focus going with this. Now, MCH grant was looking at the age ranges of ages 6 through 11. So that's why you may see like, oh, why did they only target that group? It's because that's what we were allowed to do with that funding. So we looked at how many, we handed out surveys, and if the parents completed a survey, their children could get these nice bento boxes. It's kind of like
Can you show
making
what
a
that is?
Yep,
Yeah.
and making a nice little Lunchable for your children. So and with that, they had booths set up with nutritious foods such as cucumbers, cheese, and I know Jojo, one of our nurses who is on the coalition and was there, she did have one of the little children like come up, and she's like, oh, I love crackers, I love cheese, I love cucumbers. It was nice to see. It was an immediate response, and it was well received with all of those. We had, with each of those, we did have each of the parents fill out those forms. So as you could see, they're little divider ones that they can have, and they have some little fun things in there, but then they also have little spoons and stuff in there. There was a variety of different ones. This is just one that she provided to us, but they were in all different colors and different things on them. So that was something then that the following day, I know at the Phillips School, they were able to get some pictures and sent them to Jojo. And the children most of them had brought it to school the next day for their snack, and they had refilled them at home that night and had various foods in them. So it was one way to show parents, different ways of doing that, but then also collecting this data so that the Health and Wellness Coalition has somewhere to go with. What we're looking at is one of the big concerns was foods being affordable. So looking at how can we help families understand that there may be different ways to go about to get nutritious foods, because I think we all can kind of understand that. So looking at different resources that maybe the Health and Wellness Coalition could provide, whether that's education, cooking classes, how to cook on a budget. And then also asking, just different questions like how often do you have sugary beverages? So just getting a little bit more data, and with that data, then providing that right along. So it was a real good feeling event, and it was well received. And I think that will be something, if we can continue to look at funding for, we'll try to continue those roles. Any questions on that? Yes.
So not so much a question as just a comment. Yeah, that was a huge success. Jordan said it yesterday in our county board meeting. Lots of input from the community, especially parents. They're really excited with what you guys did there. Excellent job. And yes, I would say let's continue this education. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think it was at a time with doing the trunk or treat. I know a lot of the families were kind of happy to see alternatives to the traditional candy. So
As a side note, I mentioned this to my husband, and I was showing him those bento boxes, and he said, "Oh, these just look like really nice little tackle boxes." Okay.
he can have a snackle box.
Yeah, a snackle box. That's a good one.
Tiffany, do you know the number of boxes that you got?
I don't, I can tell you that the number that we gave out was at the front of that. The number
I think it's,
of children reached,
in
the grand total count that we had was 386 children. And we have ones that we, like I said, JoJo and the Wellness Coalition are working on for the Prentice area, because right now the events that we had were within the northern part of the region so far, or the middle to northern. So, and then after those feel good things, we'll talk about pertussis. So we have seen an increase in cases statewide. Here in Price County, it was mostly last month, maybe a tad bit into this month, where we had some cases of pertussis here. Pertussis is also known as whooping cough. It's a vaccine preventable disease. So the number of cases we had was 6, so it wasn't significantly high, but as we know, those that are, older and younger children are more vulnerable. So we have been pushing more education on making sure individuals are up to date with their vaccinations. And also providing that education to our schools as to how to handle if there is a pertussis case. We've been working and collaborating with the schools on that. In September, we were in the schools to provide the Tdap vaccine. I don't have the number of kids that we vaccinated, because most, we're just trying to catch up on the kids that didn't have the vaccine at that time. But we were able to provide the Tdap. Tdap has your tetanus, diphtheria, and pertussis. So it has that component in it. So it is a category 1 disease, so it has to be reported to us within 24 hours. There was some recent change in that reporting. They no longer have to call it into us. They can just put it into the state system, and it gets to us electronically. So it's right at our fingertips when we come in the morning on our computers. So, yes, sir.
I had the unfortunate experience of having that back in 2014. And I guess I was the only reported case in Price County that year. And it's a mystery to me where I got it and how I got it. How does that spread?
It is spread just with contact, close proximity to another person who has pertussis.
So somebody else must have had it.
Somebody else
and
must have
didn't
had
get
it.
reported.
That is correct. So as what we were seeing in the months leading up to when we were getting cases here is, if you would have had a map, you could see it coming in like in the southern part of the state, moving its way up and then hitting a couple counties around us. And then once we started seeing a little bit more into our county, then we were hitting the school system and a few more popped up. I can tell you that the number of cases that I'm seeing 6, but I do feel it's underreported, because in a lot of cases, they may have not have been testing. In some cases, it was, we have been seeing where providers, they're like, oh, it is suspicious of this, but they didn't go through with the testing, but they did provide the treatment for the child. So to give, the accuracy of the number of cases, I do feel like what was reported to us may be a little bit low. That's why we're not, because when there's a case that's reported to us, we do contact tracing around that to kind of keep the spread from
Yeah.
going on.
And I had a lot of coughing, and I was misdiagnosed with my first visit. And then the second visit, it was diagnosed properly and went through a series of antibiotics. But is it more likely that a child spread this than an adult?
It could be because as
I
we,
think it was the two little girls behind me in church that gave it to me. But that's just a guess.
well, I can't say who gave it to you, but what I can say is in most cases, I would say with young children,
Yeah.
we are constantly telling them to cover their cough and things like that, cough into your elbow, or some kids call it the vampire cough. So we do that education, but we do know that they are probably not as good as those of us that are adults on washing our hands, covering our cough and such. So, and it's easily spread if they're in congregate settings such as daycares, schools, and so forth. So
And it was an interesting thing to have.
yes, the
Um,
cough can last a long, long time.
Yeah, it was if I can take a minute, in the middle of the night, I woke up and I couldn't breathe.
Hmm.
And you can't breathe. And you sit there and think, what's happening here? And eventually, just by relaxing and starting to take short breaths, I was able to get my breath back. And I was alone. Well, the next night that happened, and my wife was there, and she just went about ballistic. And I just cool it, cool it. We'll get through it. But it was an interesting experience. So
Yes, and
for those of you who haven't had it,
Yeah.
and as you can imagine,
case you
if
get
you're
it.
looking at a newborn, children, infants cannot get the DTaP, which is the child's form of that vaccine, until they're 2 months of age. So they get it at 2 months, 6 months, or 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, and then again at a year. They do give a mom a Tdap in their third trimester so that they get some passive immunity, but
Yeah.
still sometimes that is not enough. So I can understand your difficulty of breathing, and then with a newborn that,
Yep.
that and they get the big whoop. So yeah.
That too, I want to ask you, do you still get 3 shots when you get the small box that you be coughing? One shot at a time. Oh my God, my daughter was in there. And she didn't get the 3rd shot because she was sick. The 3rd section of the section, and why did she get it? Oh my God. We slept right next to the crib because she coughed.
Yeah. Yeah. And that isn't the DTaP, which has the pertussis component, isn't a combination shot that can be given, like I said, at the 2 months.
What I want to say is, I didn't know my sister-in-law hadn't had her kids bleeding shots for the kids when they were born, and it was God, that's strong.
Mhm.
And so that was in 2014. So 10 years, you're supposed to get your next one, right? So I just got it, and the insurance company just sent me it and say they don't cover it because I didn't have an illness.
Oh, well,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that I would look into.
Yeah, well, I can call them, but I suspect I'm going to get a bad answer. But that's why they denied it, because I didn't have the illness.
But I just had my checkup and my doctor recommended that I get
Yep.
it, and I will. So I wonder if that'll make a difference if your doctors recommend
Well,
it.
no, the
then-
doctor brought it up. He says, it's 10
Yeah.
years, it's time for your, whatever.
Right.
And I got it, and
I would say it's a preventable vaccine, so I would
Exactly.
encourage your insurance company to check that out.
Yep,
can I reference you?
I will do what I can for you, sir.
Thank you.
there you go.
Any other questions?
Said, I went to 3 doctors before one would believe me. I said, I know she's got whooping cough. And took me in the pregnant doctor is here, and I went to the one that I called.
Oh, that poor baby. All right, any other questions for Tiffany? Here you go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Nice job. All right, Aging and Disability Senior Services, we'll have Chris. And is Dawn joining you or not just yet? No. Oh, she just, okay. Just getting, got it.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Chris.
So what am I, the transportation grant. I'm just looking for approval today of the 8521 transportation grant. You should receive that in your packets as well.
Big thing here.
The amount of the grant is $79,889. We have to reapply for this grant every year, and it funds our elderly and disabled transportation program and the 3 BART program, or the 3, the BART in Phillips, BART in Park Falls, and then the BART that runs to Minocqua. So it partially funds all of them. And each of the projects are listed, spelled out in the application, and the funding amounts are listed in there. Carrie was able to helps with this every year with the dollar amounts. Does anybody have any questions?
And part of that grant requirement was that we had that public hearing.
Correct.
That's why we had
Yep.
that.
So you want a
Okay.
motion?
I would
Yes,
entertain a
please.
motion.
What is the motion?
To accept the,
Accept,
And approve the
And approve and-
8521
approve the
Transportation.
8521
transportation grant.
transportation grant.
Mhm.
That's my motion.
motion's been made by Mr. Kopish
Second.
and second by Ms. Stephen. Any other discussion or any discussion at this time? Okay, hearing and seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion's carried. You need do I have to sign
No,
that? Oh, good.
Not this one.
Not this one. I'll get a letter from you
I
later.
promise. All right.
All right.
The Nutrition Advisory Council, we met on October 31st in Ogama. This again, we meet quarterly and we go to the different nutrition sites to meet. We reviewed the roles and responsibilities of the Nutrition Advisory Council because sometimes I think some of the members just really dwell on the negative comments of the meals. So then we discussed the roles, and there's also options for doing fundraising. So we talked about that, where the members can do fundraising to help out with the costs of the program. We discussed the 2025 suggested donation for the meals. Right now, the congregate suggested contribution is $5. The home delivered suggested contribution is $5.50. It was voted on that they did not want to increase the pricing this year or in 2025. So the suggested contributions will remain the same for next year. So hopefully people will continue to contribute, and we'll go from there.
And if you would clarify the word suggested in there, because I don't believe everyone understands that you don't have to pay. I mean, that's a state mandate, correct?
Right. We have to put it in there as it's a suggested amount. Whatever they pay. Some don't pay at all, some pay less, and some pay more. So we can't just charge $5 per meal and collect the $5. It's a suggested amount. So it is what it is. Whatever people contribute, that's what we have to go on. So,
Thank you.
which is a slippery slope.
It is, and the discussion at that meeting the other day was real interesting. And I give, is it Clarita, right?
Clarita.
That-
Mhm.
I mean, I know she's real concerned about the dollars amount and looking for fundraisers and those
Right.
kinds of ways of bringing that up, so it was an interesting meeting.
Currently we pay Phillips Cafe $5 per meal. The price will increase to what we pay them starting in January to $5.30. So, which is still a really good deal. What we pay for just for the meal.
Do you want to let them know how much it costs though for one meal to go to a site?
So it's approximately in between, I think, 12 and 13 and $14, what we calculate, and that all contributes from the price of the bulk delivery to all the sites, what we pay the site managers, all the containers for home delivered, overhead. So it's a combination. It's just not what we pay the Phillips Cafe. So there's a lot that goes into just that one meal for everyone.
And so that being said, when they were talking about when each of the sites were talking about, they didn't have enough salt for this, or they didn't have, I kind of spoke up and said, we really need to watch what we're wishing for, because Phillips Cafe is the only business that does this for us. And, if you complain too much and if you're not careful, he could just say, I'm done. Because I can remember, and I meant to mention that at the meeting, when I ran the after-school program at the elementary school, and any of the title things that we did, we always had them bringing in our food for us at that same price. And I haven't been teaching since 2018. So, that price hasn't changed. So
Yeah.
I really, 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 we need to make sure that people realize this. Cooking in bulk is not always easy. Cooking for specialized diets where you can't have a lot of salt. Those kinds of things have to be taken into consideration when that happens. And I don't have a problem bringing that up to people, because it's easy to complain. But boy, if we don't have his services with Donnie and his crew, we'd be in a big world of hurt in this county.
They're the only ones who have ever, for quite a few years, put in a bid when we put the program out for bid. So, yeah, and I always remind people that there are options. People don't have to dine at the nutrition site. They can eat elsewhere,
Right.
But
Bring your own salt.
and we have salt on the table.
And you do
a lot
have
of
salt
it.
But if it's not the right salt.
Chris, what did you say the cost is from Don going forward?
Starting in January, $5.30.
30 cents, okay.
Mhm.
And that was below 5 before,
It was
wasn't
at 5.
it? Was that 5?
For this year, last year it was $4.95. So he raised it a nickel, I believe.
Yeah. I think the food for the most part is very good.
I agree.
I would not complain. And you can add salt.
Yeah.
You got
It's
ketchup,
right
you
there.
got barbecue.
Yeah. Right.
Let me see here. Danny reviews the dietitian from the health department. She reviews the menus every month, and she requested to Don for more soups and casseroles over the winter months. Dave Schmidt said he will contact the radio station for a promotional spot to talk about the nutrition program. The consensus with the sites is that they're generally satisfied with all the meals. Give or take. And then the next meeting will be January 30th in Brantwood.
And I'm going to say Cheyenne is back. And so hopefully some of those programs,
Almost back, right? Is
almost,
she?
yeah, almost back, yeah.
Yep.
So when that happens, some of those activities
Yeah.
hopefully will come back to
Yeah.
the sites.
Yeah, so that'll be good.
Last comment. As long as there's a provider making the meals, we will have a meal program. Is that correct?
Right.
Yeah, if the money isn't there, the county just increases their levy, I would assume, right?
Yeah, and how much, at what point does that increase to? You know what I mean? Because right now we're already using tax levy money in June and July for the program to
Yep.
run
Yep.
through the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And program contributions. That's how it gets through. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, how much tax levy will we continue to get?
Well, to me, it's a very small part of a very, very large number. So
Mhm.
I would assume we'd be able to afford it going
You would
forward,
assume, is right, yes.
right? And we may have to fight a few other board members, but I think we can make it work.
Patty, you have a question?
What is our annual budget cost? What is it costing us for 12 months for this program? Like you said, the overhead and the site managers. Do you know how much?
I don't have those
Ballpark?
figures with me.
Can always get back to.
Right.
In your budget.
In our packets somewhere.
Yeah,
those
probably.
numbers Nick gives us.
Yeah.
I think.
hmm
We can get that information to you. Any other questions for Chris? All I know is Chris does a really good job managing all of this. She keeps it moving and
Carrie is typing.
Carrie's typing us. Okay. Yeah, she does. And I don't know if everybody realizes.
I'm sorry.
Go
Carrie
ahead.
said she'll print a financial report of the status of the program.
Thank you, Carrie. I don't think everybody realizes that if they're short workers and somebody doesn't show up, I mean, our own Sarah has gone there to help. I mean, they leave their jobs, they leave their desks, they leave everything, and they go up and they have to, somebody has to help serve for that. So, just so you know, that's part of their, it's not on their job descriptions, but that's what they do.
Carrie's going to print a report. Yep.
So thank you for all you do.
You're welcome.
No other questions? All right, next.
Now it's the quarterly report.
Excuse me.
I always am a month late with the quarterly report because I don't have the figures in time for the regular quarterly reports. So this is from July, August, and September. We distributed a total of the 117 senior farmers market vouchers, which each contained $35 to be used for fruits and vegetables. This is the first year we were able to distribute all of them, so that was good. We'll get a report and it'll show, yep, for sure. The average donation in August, congregate, and this is combined with all of the sites, the average donation was $3.83. In the home delivered, average donation was $4.33. Average in September, congregate, $4.86 was what the average donation, and home delivered was $3.35. I have a breakout of the total number of meals served, July, August, and September. July had the most meals, 1,734. The average number of meals per day in September, Park Falls obviously is going to be the highest. They were at 41 average per meal or per day, and Kennon had the lowest at 11. The congregate and home delivered meals for September, just a breakdown, there were 682 congregate and 931 home delivered throughout the county. Volunteer drivers, we had during that time frame 6 volunteer drivers. We now have 1 more volunteer driver for the transportation program. They drove 6,542 miles on their vehicles and volunteered 214 hours. Any questions?
I don't have a question, but in my director's report, I just think it would make sense that I'd like to kind of talk about, Carrie had worked on finding some more funding for this year and to replace the, to add to our 3B, she found $3,193, and to put towards the congregate, it was $4,778, and home delivered $3,839. So that is from counties that have not used their total grants. So we had found some of that funding. So every little bit helps. And so I really appreciate Carrie going through and and finding and getting, so we got a
Mm.
little bit more increase. I didn't want to wait because it just made sense to
Mhm.
talk about it during
Yep.
this time, so.
I have a question, Chris, regarding taking home meals, people have leftovers. Are they allowed to bring in their own containers?
Yes, I did just send out a memo to the congregate diners regarding that
Okay.
last week, I believe. Um, because I feel we were using too many of our own containers to send the leftovers home or if they needed some. So yeah, they can bring in clean containers for themselves, not to share with everyone, but their own containers.
Okay,
Yep.
so that was the next part of my question is, someone like myself could not bring in a bag of Quick Trip containers that are washed and cleaned and left at the sites for people to use to take home?
I would think the site manager would run them through the
Dishwasher.
dishwasher.
Okay, so,
But then, again, if everyone does that or a few, then it starts taking up the room
right.
to hold the containers. But yeah, I mean,
I didn't know if there were any state laws about,
yeah, they just have to be clean and
Okay.
sanitized. And as long as they'd have room at the site, that shouldn't be a problem.
okay. That was just a discussion when I
Yeah.
was there, so, okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. You're welcome.
Chris, do you have a copy of those statistics you were reading off? Is it somewhere? Is that something,
It should,
is it in the stuff I
it
have?
should be in it's a colorful,
It's in your packet, underneath your agenda.
bless you,
It's,
bless you.
Oh,
It's right after the minutes.
okay, here, this.
Yes.
there, Carrie, look at you.
Accidentally printed this one. I wasn't gonna say I printed it for Bob, but.
Didn't you ask the question?
But you just wear that question well. It is a slippery slope, working with the dollars there, I know that. But it's such a great program.
Yeah.
Thanks for printing it big, Carrie, too. So like Bob said yesterday in the county board meeting, us old farts can read it.
This is just about right, yeah.
Yep. Bring back memories, Bob?
Patty,
From yesterday, yeah.
I'm going to say this now because I'll forget. In good weather in the spring, maybe we could bring our volunteer drivers in to be recognized and a round of applause and let them know that maybe we don't know their names or individually, but we see we realize what they're doing.
that's a great idea. Recognizing our volunteers is always a great idea. Thank you for that one. We'll make note of that. Holy mackerel.
Can I tell you what we're looking at?
Yeah, please do.
So what you're looking at is what I use for, Carrie and I use for preparing the budget. So you'll actually see a history here because we go back several years. So see 2020, 2021, 2022, so that you can see where we're going through the last couple of years. And then the 2024 budget and the farthest column to the right would be the 2025 budget. So you have your revenues at the top and your expenses at the bottom. So I know Patty had asked how much we spend on the program. So you can see one of it's for the congregate and one's for the delivered meals. So the sites and then the delivered meals. So
Thank you so much, Carrie. This is, Bob's already really studying it.
Oh, there's a lot of numbers here.
Lot. Any questions for Carrie while she's still here, anybody? Of course, she's just down the hall. Listening. Thank you for listening. We
Now, Carrie,
appreciate
You
that.
always have a little twist because I'm looking at this and you got net revenue over expenditures. So a negative is good and a positive is bad. See? She got them flipped. She does that on purpose. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, if it's dull. We don't want dull. Gosh, no. All right. Thank you, Chris. That was very enlightening. Now if I can find my agenda and all of this, here we go. Let's move on to, Carrie Krupp is not here, but Sarah will cover what she has there. It's in front of you somewhere.
For the high cost placement, again, pretty much like what Carrie says, it's pretty much the same thing as the AODA is still creeping up on us for expenditures, and as well as the children and youth placements. So both of them keep increasing.
We were at a nice standstill for a while there.
We
Not
were,
but
yeah, and now it's,
Everybody kept warning us,
yeah.
don't get too comfortable.
So, and one placement can definitely cost us an extremely lot of money. So just with one placement.
So just a question on that, just so I'm reading this right. So the budgeted for high cost placements, children and youth, is that, am I looking at this correct? Through August, we were at 287 and change, and we're budgeted 913. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then on the high class patient LDA, we're at 390 and change, and we're budgeted 286. So do those kind of combined at the end of the year as far as plus or minuses where we're at with budget in the end? Because one's quite a bit under what we've budgeted, and one's quite a bit over at this point. Just a question on that.
Is it, so your question is it going to?
I think Bob was gonna,
Oh,
Joe,
sorry.
I like, go ahead.
yes, okay.
The answer is yes, because within the Health and Human Services Department, they have a fund balance.
Right, it's a set.
Yeah. and
Sorry.
one-
Just like
one will
highway.
offset the other.
Just like
That was-
highway, one project office sets another
Nick
in
said,
the end.
Nikki said yes. Nick said yes.
Thanks, Nick. Okay. Thank you very much.
Oh, there you are, Carrie.
Short answer, yes.
That was scary.
That was really scary, right?
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, short answer, yes. In the end, all of Health and Human Services, so whether it's COA or all the departments, all the different,
Behavioral health.
yeah, behavioral health, all of them, in the end, all combine in the end for their fund balance. So they have one fund balance for all of
As
their,
a department.
yes.
Yep, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Phew.
Yeah, that was great. All right, that's it? For
That's it for
Carrie's,
Carrie.
okay, nothing, thank you very much, Carrie. Carrie, great. And now for the director report, Sarah, you're
Okay.
back on again.
All right. I already talked about the, what Carrie did for the funding, which was great for the meals. For going to personnel, for positions, December 3rd, we will be interviewing for the public health nurse, which will replace in Tiffany's position. And as we were talking about with increase in children and youth, Jasmine Marlinga had applied because she was just doing an LTE position for us in long-term support, or in the ADRC for APS. She was helping us out. Sorry, Dawn, now since I said long-term support, now I've got that in my mind, long-term support unit, that's years ago. She is helping us in the APS. She applied for the children and youth unit, but her goal was definitely not to work full-time. So in discussion with Nick, and we were able to come up with as that, because she asked, could I just do part-time? We're not doing a part-time position. It's just that she is going to work part-time, but if we ended up with a full-time position, if we need it, that she would have to go full-time. It's a social worker position, but it's helping us with foster care. I guess to the point is that we need foster homes, and right now we're neglecting our foster care part. And so if she can give us, I believe it's 27 hours. If she can give us 27 hours to get out there and recruit foster homes, that's what we need, just to keep these costs down. So we appreciate how we kind of were able to come to an agreement and work that out. So she'll be working 27 hours on the foster care. She is a certified social worker. And that is a certified social worker position, which is great because she will be also to do on-call for us. So that'll be one more person to add on-call. And I know that it definitely, the Children and Youth Unit is pretty excited about that. So adding one more person on call. So that's what we have with Jasmine, and she started on Monday. The positions, we still have a children and youth position that is still has an opening. But otherwise, we are pretty much having, so I'm pretty excited about that as our agency or Health and Human Services is getting to be, and we did receive applicants for the nurses position. So that was, we got about 5 so far. So,
That's great.
yeah.
Is that still open for applications, the nurse's position, or did that close?
To the 20th.
To the 20th, okay.
Yes.
Looking for a job, Joe? Another.
Another one. Ah. I'm not quite, I'm a little bored yet.
Any other questions for Sarah? I did want to mention, Dawn, for the ADRC meeting, you know, I always attend those remotely, although you and I have gone, one time we drove over to Cable, but it just takes a lot of time from the day because they're up in Ashland. Will you be online as well then? Oh, good. That'll be good to see you there. So, okay, good. Maybe sometime we can all drive together and attend in person it's been once in a blue moon. It would be nice.
Sometimes you get more out of it too with the side conversations, which sometimes is always beneficial.
I agree. I thought maybe I could do something. Dale had a meeting up there, but then that canceled because he was going to be there Monday. And I said, well, then I'll just go and on Tuesday morning, I'll just attend the meeting. But no, it didn't work out. Okay. Anyway, and hearing nothing about anything else. Anybody, I didn't forget to do something? No? Okay. Phew. All right. Well, without any objection, this meeting is adjourned. We'll see you on January 8th. Have a great Thanksgiving, a great Christmas, and we'll see you all next year.
And all of you.